there. Now it's a war zone. Now it's like checkpoints and Checkpoint Charlie and guards and FBI and ATF and Army. These people have not been able to go back to their homes to get the contents of their safe. And I've heard rumors about who is rummaging through that. Again, I'm not here to spread rumors, but I'm just telling you. To not allow homeowners to go into and get their stuff is weird. To not allow press to go in there to get their stuff doesn't make sense. To not allow citizens like me to pull over on the side of the road and take pictures and videos from afar of what's going on. I can't fly my drone over there and watch the hillside for future strikes causing fires, or looking down and seeing what FEMA's doing. To block everybody out is against our constitutional rights.
There is now...
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. Just doing an update on what's been going on in Maui. Checking out content here from this gentleman, Hustle Bitch. He's really been, I mean, just putting out the information every day. Him and Hawaiian Real Estate. And I've been following them, putting my own content together also. And it seems like on this video, he's got some more stuff that I haven't seen on any other channel. And that's why I like when he does his investigation, they go deep, and where they're getting the information from, who knows? But I hope and pray that it keeps coming out. Again, I just want to thank the new subscribers, everyone checking out my content. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and let's check out and see what he's got. It's pretty good stuff, but here we go.
Now yet another extremely concerning situation taking place in Maui.
This is probably one of the most egregious things that they could do post-fire. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather have glue or ash go into the ocean? Here, just watch.
Looking at options on how to mitigate ongoing discharges to the ocean, we've decided to apply a soil tackifier, which is, we've chosen a product that is non-toxic, biodegradable, marine safe.
Okay, here we are on vinyl acetate. When you go down to the toxicity, one test in 2009 done by the Canadians that says it's safe, but then if you look here, it says in the context of large-scale release into environment, it is classified as extremely hazardous.
Okay, read it for yourself. Google it for yourself. Check out for yourself. Vinyl acetate, copolymer. But really it boils down to a common sense question. Would you rather have glue going into the ocean, or would you rather have ash? And two, why are they really doing that? What's the real purpose? Some saying it's so they can lower the value, make it unusable, and come in and swoop it up, which is part of the land grab.
The University of Hawaii caught a green laser beam on camera for over 10 minutes the morning before the fire. This video has also been removed from the internet, but I was able to save it for you. Check it out. One theory is that they were mapping their targets out so they wouldn't accidentally hit Oprah's house.
Well, why shouldn't you have a conspiracy theory when they're not telling you anything and they're purposely lying to cover for...
I also don't know why that's a conspiracy theory when you're just positing possibilities. Meaning, like, right. it's not impossible, and you're not saying that it actually... Well, Oprah, I feel like, has better things. I mean, she does own a space laser, so, I mean, theoretically, you could... But
You can certainly see why people would conclude, something's a little screwy here. Is there something more going on?
In absence of facts and explanation.
Yeah, this whole thing has been screwy from the beginning. You know, there's been so much misinformation. I mean, from the police chief to the fire chief, the governor, the mayor, everybody's keeping tight-lipped. The people are being pushed back on. You know, I put out a lot of videos, so any new subscribers just go back and, you know, the past few days, the past 2 weeks, I've been putting out a lot of videos on what's going on in Maui, and it just looks like they're making it look more conspiratorial than anything else. And yet they're saying that no, nothing to see here, everything's fine, when in fact is not. Not to mention, we still don't have an answer or a definite number of all the missing children and all the missing people. You know, and yet they won't talk about it. The mayor has no answer, the governor has no answer. You know, the police chief has no answer. It's like all these people were in charge, and people, you know, people's children are missing. And another thing that's strange, and I've been saying it, and they'll probably mention in this video, because a lot of people have been saying it, where are the parents of all those missing children? You know, you mean to tell me that if all those missing children perished, all their parents perished with them also? Or are they being tracked down and being told to stay hush hush? So it's just, like I said in my previous videos, I'm not believing anymore about the whole hurricane wind theory and the way everything turned out. I mean, the massive military cleanup that's going on. I mean, so many things are going on, and they're keeping the residents out, you know? And it's bad enough that the powers that be could have either stopped this catastrophe, or at least had more effort into it where it could have been less damaging, but they didn't. And it makes people wonder why. But let's continue.
Everyone has to rely on their own theories as to what's really going on in Maui.
We basically want accountability of people who are responsible for this, and they should be held liable for this. People should be held liable for this because this is gross negligence. We want accountability of people, that electric company, the police. Why did the police block people from coming and exiting? The police was blocking the road. Hundreds of people were backed up there with people in their cars, and a lot of people lost their lives. The police officer that was over there, he should be investigated. It needs to be investigated by a third party that is not associated with the government. People in Lahaina are angry. We don't trust the government because of what has happened. I'm an attorney, and I question, there's so many things that are questionable that has happened here. We still don't trust the government. We're wondering what's on those documents for FEMA. I don't know what's on the documents myself. And we're afraid to sign documents because right after that, the governor says, oh, I'm going to take the land. The state wants to purchase all this land. Who the hell does he think that he should get this land? This land belongs to the people already.
Okay.
The government is liable for this. Grossly negligent, at least if not criminally negligent. They should clean up all that land, restore that land to the people who own that, because they failed here. They failed. The government failed.
People are...
And that's true. They did fail. They had everything at their disposal. You know, they had the fire department. The fire chief got up and split that first day. They had somebody that was in charge of the water. He valued water over human life and cut off the water. You know, the police chief lied. You know, had his, in my opinion, his goons go and steer people the wrong way, which basically bottlenecked them into a trap. You know, you had the guy that was in charge of the sirens. He resigned the very next day right after that. You know, there's so many things that the powers that be, those government officials, you know, those state officials, the ones that were in charge, they just let it. I find it impossible to say that they were slow on their response and they didn't know and they were ill prepared. No, I'm sorry, because 3 weeks prior, I believe, they said they were having a meeting about if a wildfire broke out. And who was at the meeting? The mayor, the governor, the police chief, the powers that be. How ironic that not too long right after that this happens, Joe Biden says a few days ago that there was over 600 of his jack boots out on the ground even before the fire started. So why'd you have so many agents out there before the fire started? And now they cordoned off the whole area. They won't let people in. You know, when was the last time anybody's ever heard of that? And I keep repeating that in my videos. Every time there's a catastrophe, a hurricane, or tornadoes, whatever the case is, yes, the emergency responders do come in, but it's also a coordinated effort between the citizens and all that to go in and help also. I'd like somebody to leave in my comments when they've ever heard of something like this happen where they won't let the people in to their own property. It all stinks, and it's wrong, and it's evil. But let's continue.
Outraged, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Oprah Winfrey are facing backlash after asking fans to donate to their Maui fund instead of contributing more of their own money.
That will put money directly in the hands of
People are mad at Oprah and The Rock, as more than 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Looking at the fund organization, it's called Entertainment Industry, with their audit for last year, can see all the different costs that are taken from donations, including salaries, advertisement, rents, bonuses, and more of around 400 million, absorbing most of the donations. And the CEO salary is around 700,000 to $1 million according to salary.com. This is why many people have shared their frustration online that a billionaire and multimillionaire are asking for donations, and most of donations will go to overhead costs. I don't know, what do you think about this? Would you donate to them or prefer to donate directly to the families?
How's it feel to be here, ma'am?
Well, it's a little overwhelming, you know.
Did you know it's been 1 month now, and the Lahaina fire is just now finally 100% contained, but is still not yet extinguished? There's over 1,000 people surveying and performing hazmat cleanup, yet the fires are still going to this day.
Almost 4 weeks since the Maui fires broke out, and firefighters are slowly making progress.
So where are the children? It's been 1 entire month since the Lahaina fire, and officials are still giving families and the public no real information. No update on the death toll, which they're now saying is anywhere between 115 and 385. Also, no information about the missing children or their parents. No updates from the DNA matches that Police Chief Pelletier was rapidly collecting.
She and another sister.
See, it's all BS, man. It's all total BS. You know, like I said in my other videos, as a matter of fact, if whoever's watching this, check out one of my last videos that I did about Maui, Washington, and the fires going on in Canada. Check that out. You'll get a better idea of what might be going on. But you know, the police chief, he's supposed to also be the coroner, and it's like, you know, how do you take on such a load all by yourself? You know, do you have a crew helping you? And if you do, where are the answers? You know, this is all a farce, getting people's DNA and all that, and taking so long. They know it's all a farce. You know, they know the death toll. They know where those kids are at. They know exactly how many people have passed away. You know, this is the way I see it. If all those poor children perished, then just say it. Bring the closure to the people. Okay, but it's as if they don't want to take. Listen, if that's a hard topic to say, if that's what's really bothering all of you, is that you dropped the ball and all those poor children perished. Okay, but say it, because if you really were ill prepared, okay, don't forget, grown-ups also died in this fire, so you're not going to be able to get away from either side. It's horrible to. You know, to have these people waiting, you know, for DNA tests, but yet you're saying that, you know, most people were just, you know, I hate to say it, but they were reduced to ashes. So what DNA test exactly are you doing? And if you did find some people that were still intact, you know, that's understandable. But how hard is it? And, you know, the media blackout from all the islands. Where is the outrage from all the other people on all the other islands that are related to the people in Maui? That's another thing I pointed out in one of my videos. You know, Hawaii is a group of islands. These people have been there for hundreds of generations. They're basically almost all related. Why is there no media coverage on all the other islands? Think about that, people. But let's continue.
On the mainland did DNA swabs weeks ago. She filed a missing persons report with police too. She's been asking for 10 days if her DNA matches any of the 115 remains.
We've never got that information.
And still no proper relief from the government. The public remains left in the dark with no idea how many are actually missing. What we can assume is that the number is much higher than the 385 the government is claiming, and much higher than the less than 50 active missing person cases that Governor Josh Green is saying. As we've seen, the official number makes wild jumps down from the over 2,000 kids that were originally missing. It also doesn't match up with the latest stats from the Department of Education, which says out of 3,000 students enrolled in West Maui, approximately 1,200 remain undetermined.
33, we're tracking new developments regarding West Maui schools. Now, here are the latest stats from the Department of Education. Before the fire, there were 3,001 students enrolled in that area. Since then, 778 have re-enrolled in other schools. 874 have signed up for distance learning. 129 are now enrolled in charter or independent schools. 12 have withdrawn. Now, that leaves about 1,200 students that the DOE is actively trying to contact.
Nick Sorter said, at a minimum, I believe officials are definitely hiding the real numbers, especially for missing, from the people of Maui, hoping this story goes by the wayside and their grip of power becomes less threatened. Families are left with more and more unanswered questions with...
Well, that's not going to happen. You know, we got to keep pushing this, people. We can't let this go by. I mean, because if this is anything... You know, if this is something that was definitely done nefarious, this is definitely a knock on America. I mean, you know, if there was really something, you know, nefarious here, you know, a group of people or whatever the case is, you know, intentionally letting this stuff happen for nefarious purposes, this is not something that we let go. Definitely not, because you can't shut this out, man. This wasn't just, you know, this wasn't a small accident that started a fire where, you know, people could say, well, you know what, we understand that individual was scared, but now we caught that person. No, this is something that, I mean, it didn't matter if it happened here in America or somewhere else around the world. I mean, this is a big tragedy. One of the biggest that this country, if not, that the world has seen in a very long time. But let's continue.
Each passing day.
Those who have been searching for clues about what happened to their loved ones are frustrated with the lack of answers from officials.
Yeah, Bridget, a lot of family members flew to Maui searching for answers and for their loved ones, and now many of them are leaving with more questions and with heartache.
There are hundreds of families who don't know what's going on. They're unable to come here. They're getting bits and pieces of information, and there needs to be a hub they can go to have their questions answered.
See, that's what I was just saying. You know, all these people from around the islands. You know, if they're talking about hundreds of families finding out, I mean, this whole thing about that, you know, the death toll is 114 to, you know, between 114 and 300 and, what do you say, 85? No. I believe, this is my opinion, I believe the death toll has to be anywhere between, I would say, between 2,000 and 4,000 people. And or either perished and missing. And when I mean missing, I mean on the children's part. That is way too many kids to go unaccounted for. I'm sorry. And it's been the number one question that's been on everybody's mind. And nobody, not even when they're saying of all the people, that the numbers that they got now, they won't even say how many are children, if any. You know, I've heard of two reports. One where they said that they found the remains of a baby in a child seat in a car, and then the report of the little boy that they found in the house, that they found him on top of his dog. He was covered with rubble, but you know, the fire got to both of them, and that's it. I have not heard of any other children that they can claim and say this child or this many children, or you know, whatever the case is, we found, you know, remains, which I find totally incredible. There is no way. There's only one way, in my opinion, where so many people can go missing as during a catastrophe, where so many people, you know, would perish and their bodies would not be found. And I don't want to say it, but I think a lot of people that are smart enough would know what that one instance would be. But let's continue.
Still don't have any answers regarding the school buses as well. I had mentioned the buses on a video a few days ago, assuming you had seen the video on it already. I left you all with questions, so this next video you're about to see has no audio, but if you read along, it will explain the school bus mystery. If school was canceled that day,
That, you know, that just gave me chills. That is so damn creepy. If school was canceled that day, why were they picking up kids? You know, in the beginning of all this, first they said that they send kids home. And then they changed their story, saying no, that, you know, school was canceled because they knew what was happening. Then they were showing people on the ground crying, sending in videos saying, no, we had to go pick up our kids. You know, I've been saying it and I'll say it again, and I know a lot of people are saying it, you know, and a lot of people are thinking it. It seems like those kids were taken. And with all the confusion and chaos and nobody really knowing what's going on, where are those school buses? If they didn't pick, whether they picked up the kids or they didn't. You mean to tell me in all that chaos they cannot find 12 to 15 school buses? I mean, everybody's seen the aerial footage. Lahaina's big, but it's not that big where you're not going to be able to find at least one of them. Where are they? Where did they go? Where did they park? I hate saying it. Or were they going one way? Let me tell you something. If something evil is going on, people better check their souls, man. God's watching. And like the Bible says, do not harm the children. Well, let's continue.
as they tell us, wouldn't the buses be lined up in the parking lot since they weren't in use? Footage has surfaced of a long line of school buses evacuating from Lahaina. Speaking of vehicles, there are currently over 18,000 cars sitting idle at the Maui Airport.
Maui's rental car companies are working to ship out part of their inventory as tourists have fled the Valley Isle.
Thousands of cars are still parked at the Kahului Airport, and many say it reminds them of the pandemic.
At Kahului Airport and the surrounding fields, it's a sign that Maui's economic engine is at a standstill and appears like a repeat of the COVID pandemic.
They're two separate lots, and they're both full of empty cars, and yeah, it's just surreal.
And from an airplane window, the massive scale of devastation from the Lahaina wildfire comes into full view. There are 7 rental car companies at Kahului Airport. The Maui District Airport Manager says there are 21,000 rental cars. 3,000 are currently rented, leaving 18,000 cars to sit idle.
So one more video I'd like to show you, again, with no sound, but if you pay attention, it may also prove that we're being lied to about the children being sent home from school the day of the fire. To add insult to injury,
that right there is pretty. I mean, that right there. What do you make of it? I mean, it's like. I mean that there's no way they could have printed that up after. Okay. The only thing I could think of is it was for their schedule for next year, and it was already printed up. That's the only thing I could think of. That they were a year ahead of the game, like a lot of schools would do. Okay, we're going to have this year's schedule, next year's schedule, you know. That's the only thing. But if this was printed up after, number one, why? With everything that's going on. And number two, how do you... It's not, you can't even say they got the date wrong if they printed it up after for next year. But if it was meant for this year, that is very strange. That is very strange, and my mind is still harping on that line of school buses, and nobody knows where they're at. And I hope and pray that somebody that owns a satellite company, whatever the case is, that they had the right satellite pointed down at the right time because they can read a bubblegum wrapper on the ground. I don't understand how the government, especially with the military there, how do they not look down, with their satellite capabilities and say, okay, this is where we found out where the bus is going. That's what I'm saying, man. There is just, excuse my language, there is just too much shit going on for people to just stay quiet, and for these government officials to stay quiet, to keep quiet, as if they think that, if we just keep ignoring everything, it'll all go away. No, it's not. But let's continue.
The good people of Maui are now being forced into bankruptcy and eviction from their own homes. Once again, Nick Sorter voiced his outrage, saying, "Hey FEMA, how about all the people on Maui that are about to be forced into eviction and bankruptcy because you're rejecting the vast majority of residents' claims? That $700 is a freaking insult to the people of Maui. Even your own employees know this is a freaking joke. Get it together. The great people of Maui can't handle the suffering much longer, not including rent or a mortgage. $700 lasts less than a week for the average family in Hawaii. FEMA fails the people once again."
Name me one major issue that we've set our mind on solving we haven't been able to do.
Joe Biden.
I'll answer that for you, Biden. Every damn thing you people have put your hands on. That's my answer.
Made an appearance in Florida to check out the damage from Hurricane Idalia, and people there want to know why he still hasn't gone to East Palestine yet.
Well, I said in March that you would go to East Palestine, Ohio. You came here. How come you haven't gone to East Palestine yet?
Well, I haven't had the occasion to go to East Palestine. There's a lot going on here, and I just haven't been able to break. I was thinking whether I'd go to East Palestine this week, but I then was reminded I've got to go literally around the world. I'm going from Washington to India to Vietnam and so it's going to be a while. But
oh man, I put out a lot of my content about this man. On some of the YouTube videos, before they start, they'll put commercials, and there's this campaign going on of supposed Republicans talking about that they can't afford for Donald Trump to go against Biden because the Republican Party can't afford Trump to lose to Biden. And I'm thinking, of course, I mean, it's a bullshit commercial. We all know that. But it's like, really? Do you actually think that Trump will lose to this man? The only way Trump lost to this man, okay, was, oh wait, that's right, never. Okay? Trump was robbed by this man. That's just my personal opinion. Let's continue.
We're making sure that East Palestine has what they need materially in order to deal with their problems.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy toured Lahaina over the weekend and pledged continued support to help rebuild Maui.
I think there's disasters and they're going to continue to be disasters. I think we could better prepare where a disaster doesn't happen.
And McCarthy also made a little trip to Hawaii over the holiday weekend, visiting the wildfire-devastated communities of Maui. While there, he vowed the people of Hawaii would get the truth on what started the fire, why it grew out of control, why residents weren't notified faster, and what can be done in the future to prevent this type of devastation from ever happening again.
Ron DeSantis calls what happened in Maui an absolute catastrophe.
Do you trust the federal government to help seeing what happened in Hawaii just a few weeks ago in East Palestine a few months ago?
Look, I think the Maui is a total catastrophe, what happened there. And I don't think we have all the answers to that. I think we should have all the answers to that. It's interesting how incurious our corporate media is about what happened in Maui. I mean, I don't see them interviewing parents who can't find their kids, but we know there's a lot of people missing. So that was a total disaster. Really, really heartbreaking to hear some of the stories, even though they're not being publicized.
At a Medal of Honor,
I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but they mentioned about Biden going to East Palestine. Has anybody noticed that Biden doesn't go to where there's catastrophe, where looks suspicious? Wonder if anybody's caught on to that. I mean, he's gone to a couple other places where we knew it was Mother Nature. You know, when tornadoes hit, a hurricane just hit Florida. But the train derailments where people were affected, he doesn't go. Maui, he went there for a few minutes. I mean, basically that's all it really was. They said a couple of hours, but I mean, might as well have been just a few minutes. Pretty strange, huh? But let's continue.
Ceremony this week for 81-year-old Captain Larry Taylor. Biden walked out before the closing benediction, leaving the recipient, as well as those in the audience, quite confused.
You know, what gets me is that there are people looking back at him. He walks away. You know, what a disgrace. You know, that he's the president of the United States, supposedly. He's walking around. And let me just put it this way. This man right here is getting a Medal of Honor. He's up there in age. He's standing strong. He has seen battle, combat. Biden, who's never had a job his whole life, we can honestly say, who's been in politics for the past 50 years, is walking away, okay, like some dude who's been through the worst in life and there's nothing, he's living on but a few minutes left. Couldn't stand there and talk a little bit and schmooze and, you know, congratulate the guy some more and just, no, leave everybody behind. But I'm glad everybody stayed there clapping nonstop for this man. Just a straight up disgrace, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me for the benediction. Most holy God, we thank you.
We're going to end today's video right there. Give this video.
Yeah. You know, people, I mean, this whole thing is just heart-wrenching. Please check out my other content on the video I've been putting out on it. I'll leave a link to this video in the description. This guy on this channel, I mean, you know, he's out there just putting out as much as he can. And, if you want to know more, just check out his channel. You'll see he's got a lot of content on this situation here. But you know, people, if you can help the people in Hawaii and Maui, try to find a way to help them. You know, if you can send them money, try to find a way. Try to, you know, if there's any way you have friends out there on the other islands that you can reach out to, find out what you can do. You know, because it just seems like between Oprah and The Rock, I mean, that's a money grab. Between what's going on with their government and our government, that's a land grab. And, I mean, come on, man. These people are Americans. You know, some people may be upset about that, say, well, you know, they all voted Democrat. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're Americans. And they need our help. You know, especially for the kids, man. There are too many babies missing. Just one is enough. Never mind over 1,000. So keep that in mind and keep praying for them. Again, I'm True Outlaw Patriot. Thank you for watching my channel. And please comment, like, subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Pass it around. And as always, stay vigilant. Keep praying. And keep praying for each other. Peace.